Today's topic is trauma from occlusion. We will be discussing definition as well as classification. This is a very important topic from exam point of view as well as from clinical point of view. Coming to the definition of TFO, when occlusal forces exceed the adaptive capacity of periodontal tissues, injury results, and this tissue injury is known as trauma from occlusion. Every tissue in the body has certain adaptive capacity. Like our periodontal ligament can be stretched up to 50% of its length. So that means whenever the forces are there which are causing the stretching of periodontal ligaments, within its limits there will be no injury, right? But when the adaptive capacity is exceeded by the occlusal forces, the injury results, and this injury is known as trauma from occlusion. This is also known as occlusal trauma. We all know that these excessive occlusal forces can affect the whole masticatory apparatus. These can affect teeth, these can affect temporomandibular joints, these can affect muscles of mastication, these can affect periodontium. But when we talk about TFO, it refers to the injury specific to supportive periodontal tissues. See, we are talking about periodontal tissues. Difference between traumatic occlusion and trauma from occlusion. Most people confuse between these terminologies. It's very simple. Any occlusion which produces injury is known as traumatic occlusion, and TFO refers to the injury, not to the occlusal force or the occlusion. So response of periodontium to the injury is trauma from occlusion, and the occlusion which is causing this injury is traumatic occlusion. Not all malocclusions are traumatic occlusions. That means if we restore the patient's oral cavity with aesthetically looking, and sometimes we feel it is an ideal occlusion, but patient might start feeling certain symptoms or the tissue starts responding as there are inflammatory changes. So occlusion which will produce the inflammatory changes will be traumatic occlusion. So it does not refer to how teeth occlude. See, patients may have deep overbite, patients may have malalignments, premature contacts. As far as their periodontium is healthy and it is accommodating to the forces, there is no injury, then that malocclusion will not be called as traumatic occlusion. So that is why the occlusion which causes trauma from occlusion, that process is known as occlusal disharmony, functional imbalance, or occlusal dystrophy. So all these terms are referring to the tissue injury rather than to the occlusion alone. Now coming to the classification of TFO, based on the mode of onset, it may be acute and chronic, and based on the capacity of periodontium to resist occlusal forces, this is primary and secondary. First one is acute TFO. As the name tells us that there is a short duration of action, not in the terms of symptoms or the signs, but the suddenness of the lesion. So this refers to the periodontal changes which are associated with an abrupt occlusal impact. See, there is a sudden injury which can be produced by biting on the hard object accidentally, like on olive pit. There are certain restorations with high points you can appreciate here. So there are changes in the periodontium, or there are prosthetic appliances which interfere with or alter the direction of occlusal forces on the teeth. So all these are producing sudden changes. You do a restoration and patient starts feeling pain in that tooth. So sometimes, you know, the most common thing which comes in your mind is that the filling can be premature, will be having premature contact, or it will be a high filling. So acute TFO is associated with the suddenness, with the abrupt occlusal impact. If we talk about features of acute TFO, signs and symptoms, patient will experience pain. There will be sensitivity to percussion, increased tooth mobility. See, if the force is dissipated by occlusal correction, you do occlusal correction, or the tooth drifts away from the direction of impact, or the tooth veers off, the symptoms subside. But sometimes condition may worsen, there may be formation of periodontal abscess, or sometimes it will continue as chronic symptom-free condition. And if there will be the impact is very high, it may also result in the cemental tears. Chronic TFO is more common than acute TFO. This refers to the periodontal changes associated with gradual change in the occlusion. It is either produced by tooth wear, or there is tooth drifting, or there is extrusion of teeth, or there are parafunctional habits such as bruxism or clenching, rather than it being a sequelae to acute TFO. See, normally we all know that there are acute lesions. If that acute lesions, we don't remove the etiological factors completely, the acute lesions may continue as chronic lesion, but not always. So chronic trauma from occlusion is an independent lesion more often. Very rarely it will be a sequelae to the acute TFO. Otherwise, it will be because of the gradual changes in the occlusal forces, either because of the drifting of teeth, extrusion of teeth, or parafunctional habits. So they'll be gradually, the lesion will be developing. Now coming to primary TFO. See, we have to understand this concept. See, you can appreciate in this picture the periodontium is normal, right? There is no inflammation, pink gingiva, there is no inflammation, absolutely nice bone, right? So normal periodontium with normal height of bone. So when trauma from occlusion in such periodontium is the result of alteration of occlusal forces on healthy periodontium, this is known as primary TFO. See, in this case, there is no inflammation in the deeper periodontal structures, right? So that means the primary TFO will result from the increased forces, excessive forces, right? There is alteration of occlusal forces. There may be increase in the magnitude, there will be change in the duration of forces, frequency. Like you can see, we all know that vertical forces are best tolerated by the periodontium. But there are torsional or lateral forces which can affect the occurrence of TFO, right? Primary TFO is the result of alteration of occlusal forces. So more common causes are high filling. See, high filling can cause acute changes also. But it is causing because the periodontium is already healthy and you are doing a filling and which has a high point or a premature contact, or you have suddenly bitten on a hard object, there are faulty prostheses. See, all these can bring about acute changes also, right? But they are mainly primary. Why? Because the periodontium in the patient is healthy, or there is drifting of teeth or orthodontic movement of teeth into functionally unacceptable positions, or sometimes malocclusion such as deep bite. See, here it is gradual. It will not cause change in one day or within few hours, right? So all these, if the patient's periodontium is healthy, all these can cause primary TFO. And I have already discussed there is change in the magnitude or direction of the forces or duration continuously. You are subjecting the periodontium to the occlusal forces or intermittent forces, frequency with the high frequency, again and again jiggling forces, orthodontic forces, they all can cause primary TFO if the patient's tissues are healthy, right? So primary TFO will be when the periodontium will be healthy and suddenly forces have increased. They have altered actually. So effect of primary TFO on gingiva, this is a very important point, very commonly asked in exam. Okay, what is the effect on gingiva? See, it will not affect connective tissue attachment. Soft tissue, it will not affect. It does not initiate pocket formation. Why? Because there are certain theories, but main theory is that because the supracrestal fibers are unaltered or unaffected in healthy gingiva, which prevents the migration of junctional epithelium. So the other theory is that gingiva has collateral circulation because of trauma from occlusion. If in one point the blood supply to the bone is altered, it will affect bone. But gingiva has collateral circulation. It has three sources of blood supply. So one theory is that gingiva has collateral circulation. So mostly junctional epithelium, formation of pocket, connective tissue attachment is not affected on the primary TFO. Like forces have altered, it will not affect connective tissue attachment. It will not affect the migration of junctional epithelium. It will not affect the GCF also. Secretion of GCF4 will be unaffected by TFO. Coming to secondary TFO, when trauma from occlusion occurs as a result of reduced capacity of periodontium to withstand the occlusal forces. See, occlusal forces may be in normal range, but there is periodontitis, there is reduced height of periodontal tissues, or the forces have increased, so it can be a combined lesion. So this is a secondary TFO when periodontium is not healthy, the height of periodontium is not normal. So reduced capacity is because of bone and attachment loss, that is in the case of periodontitis. It leads to the decrease in attachment area, so the tissues become more vulnerable to injury. So even the well tolerated occlusal forces have become traumatic now. See, patients complain earlier there was no symptom, but now I'm feeling that teeth were always like this much collapsing, like deep bite was always there, but I have never felt anything. But now I am feeling my teeth are getting loosened. So that is like even the earlier well tolerated occlusal forces have become traumatic now, because the capacity of the tissue to hold on to bear those forces have reduced. And earlier this was known as compound periodontitis, like when there is periodontitis, plaque induced periodontitis is there, and TFO is also there. So the combined lesion was known as compound periodontitis. You can appreciate here, see the patient has come to you like this is, see first we will see this case. Patient is having periodontitis, height of the bone is reduced, there is inflammation in gingiva. So reduced height of the bone, and obviously attachment area is reduced because periodontal ligament will attach to bone. So in this case, the even normal forces will become traumatic. Even if you go for scaling, root planing, there is shrinkage of gingiva has become healthy, but still the attachment area is less, bone height is less. So even the normal forces will act traumatic. So forces may or may not be increased, but the height, the capacity of the periodontium to withstand those forces have decreased. So this is secondary TFO. So these are like mainly viva voce questions. Like I have already discussed that there is no effect on gingiva. There is no effect on gingival recession. TFO does not cause gingival recession. There is no effect on production of or amount of GCF, or there are no changes like Stillman cleft or McCall festoons. Earlier, they said that there are 20 signs of TFO, and Stillman clefts and McCall festoons were related with trauma from occlusion, but now as we know it does not affect gingiva, so it will not cause Stillman cleft and McCall's festoon. These are related to the plaque induced inflammatory lesions. Thank you so much. If you have any problem, please put it in the comment box. Good day.